Good evening, folks, and welcome along where the title can be wrapped tonight. It is Qatar, round number 9 of the season. We apologize for the extremely late start to the stream. We had some technical difficulties getting into the lobby from the RPL streamer account. The account wouldn't allow us to sign in at first, and then when we joined the session, we couldn't even start the stream. It wouldn't even let us, so I had to do a whole hard reset in order to get us going. We are going, though, and we are going to join the lobby and get ourselves in here for the sprint race. We missed qualifying, so we do not know exactly what happened there, but I am aware Skither took pole over Jack Miles. That's our top two in the championship, and right now in the sprint race, Skither runs 8th, Jack runs 5th. That would not be enough for Jack to win the title tonight, as of right now, but that does better his chances. We'll have a lot to talk about with that being said. Invicta also have a chance to rep the title as well. They need to just really beat Dams, or not be beaten by Dams. And as things stand, it's not really a hefty margin they're being beaten by right now as things stand in the sprint race. So, there were only 5 drivers in qualifying who completed laps. And, gotta say, those 5 drivers who did, 6 drivers who did, it was Skither, Jack, Night Owl, Goggy, Eric, and Titan, the top 6. That meant George Williams started on pole for our sprint race, and you can now see him leading the Grand Prix. 4 places gained from Jack, 4 places gained from Skither, 2 from Ardell, who raced here yesterday in Tier 2. Same with Goggy down 4, Zora down 4, and Titan down 5. We have a change at the front of our field. Jack Miles passes Night Owl for 4th place, and speaking on the championship gap into tonight's event, it was a 55-point gap. 78 points available for the rest of the season. We have a battle into turn 1. Zora is ahead of both of these guys, but has a penalty. Titan and Ardell would be getting the last point spot, so this is what they're battling it out for right now as things stand. The top 5, top 6 are much more closer than they were prior. George, Ding, and Timbed were all spread out there. It's good to see them close now. Here comes Ardell. It's the battle of both RPL names, Titan Iron or Ardell. Which one's going to come out in front? Heavy braking for turn 6. Ardell does not go for a dive. Titan remains in the place. But it's a high-tech one too. And last week, George broke a big winless streak. It took a while for him to win again in RPL F2, but he has done it. And he did it in Baku. Same for High Tech, who had not won in 3 seasons as well. So it's good to see where they are at. Has Blue Goggy joined back the session? No, he is not. We will get him an invite back now that things have started to calm down a little bit. He does need an invite back to the session. Or if he is trying to take control, he hasn't taken control yet due to that silly glitch. Meanwhile, George Williams leads over Ding. Jack Miles and Skither now trade the fastest laps, and here comes Jack Miles making the move into turn 1 for 3rd place. It's a podium place. Jack Miles has taken over. He just cuts off Timbed as well. Look at that. That is tight action right there. Further behind, Night Owl and Skither are racing it out. Night Owl still could get 2nd in the championship if Skither cannot mathematically win the title any longer. Right now, Jack is outscoring Skither by a few points, but not by a whole lot. And just remember, Skither got pole as well, so those are some points as well for Dams. Here we go. Skither maybe had a move, maybe had a look. He did sneak a peek down the inside. It allowed Night Owl to go a bit wide. Skither can now set himself up for an opportunity down in the S's, but it just is not happening. The Australian hangs on. The Australian also got some experience racing here yesterday in Tier 2, so that was nice as well for him. And we got a yellow flag. That is for Zora, who spun around there down at the turn 6 hairpin, maybe rear locking it. He was told he's been on his last warning in terms of his amount of crashes he's been in and caused by himself. But meanwhile, Ding, 2nd place man, has got a penalty to his name. So our first ever F2 winner in the sprint format back in Bahrain 5 years ago now is a penalty. Timbed does too, and a nice little bow here for 8th place, last point spot, regardless of the penalty status. Titan has it. Zora wants it back. Ardell is there waiting on the wings too. Ding now does not have DRS. Jack Miles does. He's going for the move. So is Skither on Night Owl. Both of them clear the cars that they're racing into turn 1. Skither just clears them by the entry of turn 2. I wonder with our leaderboard doing that, what it did. Did Gaki get in control of the car again? Yes, he did. Luckily, it didn't retire him. I say that, but it still could. Now, down the main straight, Titan had 8th place. Zora now has it. Ardell is diving up the inside. We got a lot of action here happening for 8th place. And this is only for a point in the sprint as well. Here's Skither right on the back of Timbed. He's trying to make a move and salvage all the lost ground that he has in his championship hopes, and maybe go for a last-ditch effort. Look at the movement there from both cars, and we have a crash. That is Eric in the Red Bull livery car. He is now down and really out of any chance to get 6th place. Look at that defensive move from Zora. He's trying to hold on over Ardell in the AIX. More yellow flags there, it looked like for Eric moments ago. We've got a lot of stuff happening through our field, and George Williams is in control here as we're about to get to halfway. He could win his 2nd race on the season and maybe get his 21st win all time in RPL. Zora, a penalty to his name. Again. That's not good. He is just not having the time of his life for sure. But meanwhile, Jack Miles is in pursuit of George Williams, and he has just set the fastest lap with it. Jack Miles is on the charge. Is he going to take the lead by turn 1? Yes, he does. Timbed also is up to 3rd, looking for his first podium as well. Skither has got by an ex-teammate of his. That's Ding. Ding, ding. Here we go. Another car down the inside of him. Contact. Night Owl goes ahead, but that was very, very racy there for 5th place. Ardell down the main straight passes Zora. Titan wants to do the same, and he does. Nice little move there. Canada versus America right here for 8th, 9th, and 10th. Meanwhile, Skither goes for a big, big send. He's gone through on Timbed, the VAR. Remember, next season in RPL F2, we'll have things back to normal where it is F1 academies with the F2 academies being the same there. So, you know, for some of these guys like Titan, Faded, it's their last race is TP technically, and well, others with that being said too, J and T. But one of the things we've not noted too much because of that and because of late starts to the stream the last 2 weeks, VAR will have their final race on the grid next week in Abu Dhabi. Remember, now that Zora and Titan have penalties, it looks like Ardell can kind of just run away with it for 8th place, which is very good to see. Ardell does need a lot of momentum, especially based on yesterday's race. In the Alpine, he didn't do the best of jobs, but in Tier 3, he had a chance at the victory, and it just didn't go his way. He got screwed over by a safety car and got wrecked by an AI on the restart. So we know what can happen here in RPL, and we already know that George Williams is re-inheriting the race lead on the run to turn 1. 4-car fight for 3rd. 2 of them have penalties. Hunted LAX a moment ago did join our session. He will be here for the feature race. But I want to give a small rundown while things have calmed down here on our Season 21 F2 lineups. We have 11 seats confirmed. Here are some of them. Opticals and Prema. Titans and ART. Leo is in Dams alongside Skither. That's a scary lineup. Minico with Rodin. Jordan a reserve. Night Owl for MP, which they will return to the grid. They're the team that is excluded from this season in RPL F2 as things stand. Thought I almost saw a spin there. My eyes did not deceive me, I promise. Night Owl and the MP, as we said. El Bear of reserve. George and Jack both in Invicta. That's also a scary lineup. Both good friends. Both Welsh drivers, with that said. Gaki for High Tech. And I think that is it. In this session, we do have some drivers on loan or, you know, reserving. Zora for AIX. Titan back full-time for Dams. Ardell in the Alpine livery here tonight. And Ding in the High Tech, I think, is our last one. No, we got Timbed in the VAR. Timbed usually does not race RPL F2. I think it's only his 2nd start. It's good to see him here. One of our newer drivers in RPL. Skither is closing, it looks like, on our front, too. He has at least pulled away from that train behind him. which is crucial if he does get a penalty, because we do see penalties happen a lot around here, very frequent. Jack Miles on the run to turn 1, regains the race lead with DRS assisting him. And meanwhile, Night Owl has got Timbed, and Ding looks to do the same around the outside with a very tight space right there. Look at the squeezing, look at the pinching here as we get to turn 2. Ding is left out wide and cannot make a move unless he goes for a dive here at turn 2, which he does. Side by side, contact made, very argy-bargy here, and it is Ding who has to back out right there. I think Gagi lagged out once again, and Zora got up to 9 seconds on the penalty margin there. Ding, does he go for a shot around the outside? He's going to try it. Look at this. Can he out-traction the VAR? The VR squeezes, and Ding overtakes off track. Will he have to give the place back? Yes, he does. He's going to try to re-overtake in the process. Will it happen? Side by side, the Italian Stallion gets ahead. And look at Skither. He is in DRS range of George Williams, trying to limit the deficit in the championship and have one last hope at this title fight. It's the fight for 3 with Jack and Skither. Jack right now looking better. We'll give you a points tally at the end and give you an update on where things stand. But with Jack Miles leading this race, I don't think it's enough for Dams to hold on at all. Gagi will get an invite back to the session because we do not have anything going on here. If he can't stay in the session, then he really should join us as a in-race reporter, because he really doesn't have much to report on besides the championship gap, which would be very helpful. Eric has got a penalty that will affect him in his battle with Ardell. The amount of spins he's had, it actually put him so far back to Ardell, who could overtake him here in the closing stages. 3 laps to go. George Williams is trying to win his 2nd race on the season. Jack and Skither, they have the same amount of wins in the season at 5. So which one of those guys, if they win, will go to 6 on the season? Invictus also looking for their 35th F2 win. Dams is looking for their 80th. Zora, down the main straight, overtakes Titan. And with Skither's pole that he got... Oh, whoa, Zora locked up majorly and went way wide. I was going to say, with Skither's pole that he got here out of the feature race, it actually is his 17th pole, meaning he's only 1 away from the all-time great Luke Grange there, all-time pole sitter in F2. We'll have 200 pole sitters as of next week in Abu Dhabi. 200 poles awarded, I think should be the correct terminology there. But Skither is closing on both Welshmen. And for Dams' case as well on the championship thoughts, they're trying to be the one to go for 6. Carlin and Prema already have 5. Dams have 5 as well. Dams have not won a title since season 16, our final season on F1 22, excuse me. Skither is not waiting around. George Williams is in the slipstream of Jack, and Skither pick off 2 in 1 straight here. George is boxed in, similar to yesterday. He actually made it work here. Compared to the move of Red Fire, Skither has taken on 2 in 1, and he takes over the race lead, but cuts off George. Jack tries to go around the outside. With that being said, Skither, with a last-ditch effort for his championship hopes, has taken over the lead of the race, excuse me. But Jack and George do not look like they are done being defeated here. Jack is still close, George is still close. Now, it could be a race with track limits here. You know how crucial that is. Further behind, Ardell and Eric are racing it out. Eric has been affected by those 2 spins he had. Ardell is saying, well, I don't care what's happening. I want to still get it on track. Side by side, little squeeze right there. Ardell is going to be ahead. Meanwhile, Zora is holding on for 9th with RPL Titan Iron. 2 of our back markers here of RPL racing it out, having a nice little battle here. Quite clean so far. That's what Zora needs. And with Dams leading the race, I know they'll outscore Invicta, but it just will not be enough here. For Jack and Skither, Skither still will have a chance for the championship, but, you know, you just gotta wonder. That feature race is really gonna be what determines it. So, it's a race down the main straight where we're trying to prevent any slipstream from end up happening into the run to turn one. Skither hangs on, though, for the race lead. George is not within proximity of Jack. Really, George's only hope here is going to be the top two crash, but Jack has reeled Skither in. This is not over. Skither is taking some very defensive lines right here, and Jack is closing. Skither versus Jack. The run to 6 wins in the season. The run to 3 titles. What could be after the feature race tonight? What could be a championship for Invicta? Dams is looking for their 6th if they win it, which we mentioned earlier, but they don't look like they're going to do it. Titan and Zora racing it out. Timbed just got a penalty there. Back there in 6th place. Zora gets the better end of Titan right now. But Invicta, if they just hold on with what they're doing right now, with only Jack Miles, they will be getting their first title here in RPL F2, I believe. No, they wouldn't. Invicta used to be Virtuosi. They'd be getting their 2nd. Big, fierce battle here for 9th place. Doesn't matter right now. What matters is Skither trying to make a last-ditch effort for his championship's sake here. He came from behind, came from P10. He has made it work, and he'll win yet another time in Qatar. He won the first time here, and he'll win once again. Skither gets the sprint race in Qatar, and that is win 37 all-time, win 6 in the season. Jack Miles is 2nd, George is 3rd, Night Owl is 4th, Ding, Timbed, and what will be Ardell and Eric to cross the line for our final point spots. With Dams' victory and Invicta's 2nd place finish, this is going to be Invicta's 2nd RPL Constructors title. They now join a list of 4 Constructors teams to have multiple titles in RPL F2. Invicta have done it. They will win the Constructors Championship this season in Season 20 of RPL F2. It's their first since Season 15. Invicta. With Jack, Minico, and other drivers that have been a big help to them, they are victorious for the 2nd time in the Constructors now. We wait till the feature race to see if Jack Miles can be victorious for the driver's sake. Here are your podium celebrations, with this top 3 just being a reoccurring theme, it seems. Skither celebrates. And it did seem a case of tire saving there at the end. A lot of drivers exceeding over 70%. Skither, Jack, Ding, Zora, and Ardell being very vocal about what their tire wear was like. And the champagne gets sprayed on the top step of the podium here at the end of our sprint race. Here are your points tallies at the end of this event. So with that being said now, here are your full results. Night Owl has been eliminated from championship contention. With that being said, he can no longer compete for the championship. Prema can still pick off Dams. Dams did get a fastest lap. Or, sorry, Invicta's getting a fastest lap there. I keep getting the two mixed up for some reason. I don't know why I'm doing that. That's what I remember. But anyway, Zora is saying that was a fun race. He had a very good battle with Titan. Only had 1 spin, which is a lot better compared to what he did yesterday in Tier 2. Maybe the track time does help for him around this circuit. Feature race, we go now, where Skither does have the pole position. 2 more things I wanted to mention in our headlines that we did not get to mention. The next time Wavy gets to race, he has a qualifying ban, and we have no more time trial submissions for the next season as well, with that being said. So, here is your lineup for the feature race here, as you can see on our screen right now. Hunted is in for ART. I am going to get us our championship gap here. 20 seconds until lights out. As we said, Night Owl is no longer in contention. Invicta may have got outscored in that race by Dams, but Invicta had a big enough gap to win the Constructors' Championship, and they are victorious for the second time. Congrats to Jack. Congrats to Invicta as a whole. It's very good to see. Here are 5 red lights for the feature race to end off the weekend of F2 Qatar. It's time to bring the action here for the event. Yellow flags on the main straight because cars were wiggly wobbly, but now Skither pinches Jack right here. Big lag from Blue Gaki. That's going to affect the back of the field here as the Prema tries to take a back evasive action. But wheel to wheel now into turn 2. Skither is the inside line. He'll get ahead of Jack. Just squeeze the Invicta and wiggle wobble while he does so. Meanwhile, Titan is trying to gain places. He's up to 6th place. That's an immense start there from Titan. Although he remains in the same spot, it's good to see where he's at. And Gagi again has retired from the session, having multiple internet connection issues. This is unfortunate to see. 2 places for Eric. That's a better start to the feature this time compared to the sprint. Further on back, Ardell, Groggy, excuse me, and Hunted are all racing it out. Lots of action here throughout this field. Hunted, though, is our biggest winner with Timbed. Our biggest loser, Ding, down 3 places. He may have been the cause of yellow flags down the main street. We're right on board with Ardell, riding on board with him behind his teammate here. And you can just see how troubling it is, really just trying to keep gripper on this circuit in F2 cars. We will race here later today for F1, by the way, so keep that in mind. Some of the drivers will be wanting to take notes from last night's Tier 2 race or the F2 race. Some of it may matter, some of it may not. But Jack is on the move, trying to do all he can. If things remain the way they are right now, Jack Miles will become a 3-time F2 champion tonight, but he wants to win the race with that. He wants to get 6 wins at the same time Skither does. Skither got the 6th win in that sprint race. Skither leads the lap. He gets the fastest lap as well. Down the main straight, everybody started on hards, and Jack Miles cannot get ahead there into turn 1. But meanwhile, Zora is racing Hunted and George. 2 Welshmen right here on the move to turn 1. It got a little hairy right there. Hunted made contact with Zora, and now Zora squeezes Ardell. No room being given here between both Canadians. It looks like Ding wants to go through, but there's no space to do so right there. Ding could not go ahead of both. He'll maybe get 1, but he's just being squeezed right here by both Canadian drivers who are just not wanting to give an inch. And there's a pinch right there from Ardell. Nice little scrap here, right? Well, it's getting argy-bargy. It's a rear lock from Ding into the corner. It allows him to stay ahead there. And Skither went wide from our race lead. It backs the field up right there, but he does remain in front. Wow, this is crazy stuff here, and it's only lap 2 of the event. Remember, it was back this season, back this race a few seasons ago. I think it was our first entry here in Qatar. We saw multiple punctures throughout the field. We also saw some first-time winners with Mythic and Crispy, and maybe others with that being said throughout the time we've raced here in Qatar. Even 2-time winners, Trout Racer. Titan has been overtaken by George Alp Williams, but that's the second train. Our first train has 5 cars in it for the time being, and Ding gets a penalty. He cut the corner on entry and then pushed out Ardell on the exit. That allowed both drivers to now pick up penalties. DRS will be activated. Skither does set the fastest lap, so it's now going to be down to Jack Miles' slipstream to make this move now if he wants to. He will not. Hunted is on the back of Titan. Do we see a little shot here down to turn 1? We see a defensive maneuver from Titan. Hunted will go the long way around now. It's Dams versus ART, and that Dams is hanging on for just now, but the ART is going to go for the move on the inside. It's going to get very racy here down to turn 2. A lot of contact. We have 2 battles here. And Hunted edges out Titan. Zora has got ahead of Ardell and Ding, but maybe not. Wow. Whoa, we're still not done. Ding has the inside line here. Will he get Ardell too? Or Zora too, excuse me? He does get Ardell, surely, because Ardell made a massive, massive mishap there. Zora, he cannot get. Zora is just hanging on here in the AIX right now. Meanwhile, Jack is closing in. He is trying to find everything he can to get by race leader Skither, and also championship contender maybe for the last time this season, Skither. Remember, we go into Abu Dhabi with 39 points available. Skither needs to be jacked by a massive margin if he wants to even have a chance. But Titan has put himself in the penalty box. That's 3 drivers now, and Skither is weaving and bobbing down the main straight. Was that legal? The move he made, was it too egregious there? That will now be the question Jack has if he does not beat him on track, but he's going to go for the race lead anyways. Jack pinches Skither and gets ahead. He saw the defensive maneuver Skither was pulling. He said, I'm just going to squeeze you right here while making the move. And 4-car race here into turn 1. Look at this. Zora, Ding, Titan, Ardell. Titan's been put in the trenches here with these guys. He's just put in an absolute mess. I mean, he's not even hanging out on Ardell. Ardell's going to put the fight to him now. Timbed got a penalty. That's the main train up in 5th place. Well, it's now become the 2nd train because he's fallen back. But Titan, who has the penalty, may have just cut the corner there. Zora did there as well. He got a penalty for good measure. Ardell goes for it on the inside and is through on Titan. Titan has just went from starting in 6th place there, now down to 11th. And Gagi is lagged out again. Oh no, this is an absolute nightmare for our Malta/British driver. He's not having a fun time. Jack won the RPL title in season 18, 19, and 20. The interesting thing about those titles, though, they had under a 25-point gap by the end. Right now, our championship standings, live as we run with Jack leading this race. I mean, we got to include fastest lap, right? It is a 8-point difference in this race, but overall, it's a 60-point gap into Abu Dhabi. Skither is trying to reclaim the race lead, and he will, but will he be ahead into turn 1 on Jack Miles? He will. Eric and Night Owl are also waiting in the wings. Meanwhile, George is not sitting around behind Timbed any longer. He gets ahead there, the VAR, the car he's reserved in a few times this season. And neat little move there from George. Just simple DRS pass, but it worked out. And it was much needed, too, considering he was stuck behind a driver with a penalty. You see everyone behind George has track limit penalties. It will be a big talking point later on tonight in our F1 race here for Tier 1. Meanwhile, Ardell and Zora are fretting out to be the better Canadian right now. Currently, Zora is ahead of him on track. They both have 3-second penalties, but Zora had a lot more penalties in the sprint. Ardell is the same amount this time compared to him in the feature. We're just trying to see which Canadian will be ahead here by the end of the lap. It's a nice little nation battle. You know, we have the showcase event going on for RPL here in the off-week break after the season is over. I really want to see a battle of nations here. I want to see 2 teammates, and I want to see 10 different nations. Titan has got a penalty. You know, because from the American nation, you'll see Skither and Cookie entered. If you want to include Welsh separately, you would see Jack and maybe George or Hunted entered. And then you get the 2 Britons, and then you get the 2 Swedish drivers of Leo and Maxwell. You know, I know we have a showcase event going on, but if we can see during the off season of in between the seasons at some point next season, after the showcase event is over, a battle of nations like that, that would be very, very cool. You just have the 2 nations being teammates, pretty much. And speaking of nations, the 2 Welshmen are in 5th and 6th right now. Timbed has been overtaken by Hunted. Ardell gets Zora. And, oh, we're going to see a lot of contact, Ardell. That was crazy. You got put off track there, and you go into the barrier there. What happened between Ardell and Zora? Big incident, maybe damage to the Alpine livery car. That was just inexcusable. It's caught on stream. Yeah, Zora caused a collision. That should have never happened. He put Ardell off track, but Ardell should have not just turned left right into the barrier right there to try and get a bigger penalty. He did the same thing when racing Gagi in Baku for Tier 2 or F2, whatever one it was. Last week, I believe it was, yeah. But that was ridiculous. You can't be doing that. It's going to be caught on stream. It's going to be submitted to the stewards that you tried to turn dead left to get your rival, your competitor, a heavier penalty. There's just no need for that. I mean, yes, Sora will be penalized probably for forcing him off track, you know, but that's ridiculous. I get it so you don't get sucked into the side pod, but you just turn left still in the barrier, Ardell. There was no need. I mean, if you're trying not to get stuck, I get it, but that was a hard lock left. That was crazy. Jack is still in DRS pursuit here, and Night Owl is close to Eric, but he won't make the move. See, the thing is, too, with Night Owl, he doesn't have a fellow Australian if we were to do a nation race like that. That's the thing. I mean, from the 2 Canadians, you select Ardell and Minico, right? If you were to do something like that. We've got a lot of other nations that can be said as well. We've got 2 Italians, Ding and Florian. You know, I would really like to see a nation race. 10 nations and 2 teammates, really, in a race of some sort here in the off-season at some point. I mean, if Payox still raced, you'd have Timbet and Payox, because that'd be the 2 Germans. I don't know. I mean, it would be definitely a very nice thing to see. It's something that they should try, considering the showcase status. And Zura has gone around. He is the cause of yellow flags right there, and he has damage on his right end plate. Ardell has damage on his left end plate due to going under the barrier there. I'm even just looking at other nations like Irish. You'd have Owen and Polagod. Hunted has now got another penalty. George Williams has got his first. And then you have the Scottish nations. Bonkers still races from time to time. I'm trying to think of other drivers who race who would be in it. The Dutchman, Korsman, and JTK. You would have 10 different nations you could do due to how inclusive RPL has been. Skither gets the fastest lap. That's out in front. It will not be enough to remain in title contention as we stand, but Eric has now been re-overtaken for the podium place there by Night Owl. So a nice little scrap there for DRS, just waiting for the pit stops, it looks like. Everyone wanted to go quite a long way on hards. No one elected to start in the mediums. Everyone, I think, is believing here that you could be in punctured territory if you started on the mediums and went the hards the rest of the way, but I think everyone just going the reverse strategy, thinking it's the better option anyways, regardless of that. But if we had a safety car, I mean, it would definitely be interesting to see how things would have been. But we don't have one, and it's very rare to cause a safety car around this circuit. I mean, we saw Robin Brain crash out on purpose in this race a season ago, which actually led to Trat Racer winning, which could have been SLR Metal's victory. Obviously, Robin Brain, some could argue, should have been banned when that moment happened, but he was only season banned for F2, and then when he came back to racing in other tiers, he used a racial slur and got himself banned, so he kind of did himself a favor there from what some people may have felt. Maybe if Metal felt that way, he would have been glad in that case. Night Owl runs very, very wide there at the triple right. Because SLR Metal was really screwed of a victory, and that in fact really happened to him 2 or 3 times during the season and did his title hopes in against Jack. It was Jack, Skither, not Night Owl, Metal, Tadpole, and I think there was one other championship contender that season at some point. So yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that where you have intentional safety cars that cause stuff like that to happen to where it affects the championship race, and we don't like to see that. Ding gets by Timbet here for 7th. Just a simple DRS pass there down the main straight. I don't think we have any Brazilians in here that could, you know, represent that nation if we want to do something like that. But I mean, you got a lot of Dutchies who can represent their own nation. Korsman, JTK. There's still other Dutchies I think we're missing in that list. There definitely is. Meanwhile, I do know RPL Titan Iron is going to pit this time. I've listened in on his stream, and if he's going to pit this time, we do expect others to come with him at some point. He might stay out if Skither does pit, because Skither would be technically the guy to have first option here. Just looking across other nations here that would kind of be included in this. I mean, we only have one Spanish driver, that's Jordan. If the race of nations was a while ago, I think Zakaria would have been included instead of someone like GTK. Now, with the way things stand, you could sit here and put the 2 females, Valkyrie and Mentaki, in as their own. Really, I know they're not the same nation, but it's worth a shout there. The race is not seeing much happening. Where that's what we're talking about, a potential thing just like the showcase race. But we're actually seeing some pit stops happening right now. Our first is Eric. Timbed will join him. Timbed is in. Where that pit entry line is very weird here. Remember, the pit lane has been changed this game compared to last. Titan is actually staying out compared to, you know, abiding by those calls that he has got from Mark. Hunted gets the better end of George. George still is left there with some room for turn 3, but gets squeezed in the process. We have Eric and Timbed going to softs. Is this too early? Is that why we have seen some stay out, like Titan, who was called to come to the pits this time? We have Zora and Ardell racing it out. Zora is getting the better end of Ardell currently. Ardell just seems to be struggling just a little bit. Tried a wider line to maybe make an arc for turn 3, but it didn't happen. I'm going to actually invite Gagi to the party, although he's lagged out and not in this race any longer. He's our only retirement. He was our only retirement in the sprint as well. I'm inviting him because I don't want to lag out of the party, but also he could definitely keep us aware of our championship scenarios here for the title to still continue with Skither and Jack, which might not be needed, but it would be great to have. Hunted gets a penalty, and that means there's only 4 drivers left without a penalty. Welcome along, Gagi. Good to have you.
Hello.
Hi. Our leaders are in to the pit lane, and they just got to make sure they don't speed, but Jack with an egregious entry. Skither maybe didn't even know where the pit lane was. Hunted came in, and Ding will join him. We have pit stops going on, and we have a puncture on Ding's left front. So they went a while there, it seems, on their tires before pitting. And that could have been a very, very big risk if anyone stayed out a bit longer. Qatar is very tough on the tire wear. Empires. We'll keep an eye out for George and Night Owl yet to pit, with that being said. Yeah, Gagi, it's good to have you. I know you didn't want to, you know, give up on this race with the internet and everything happening there, but it's at least good to have you here to join us for the remainder of the event. Everyone is on soft tires except for our top 4 yet to pit. Gagi, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, good to hear you. Good to hear you. Do you have your auto included?
Yes.
Alright, awesome. Well, yeah, I don't know if you're in the session any longer or not, but we do have a championship that's been decided already, as you may know. We have the constructors, which went to Invicta, but we have the drivers that can get settled, and not much has happened really in this race besides simple DRS passes and a pass for the lead. But now we might see something happen. Look at this, Skither and Jack trying to maneuver their way around Ardell. Skither and Ardell make contact. Jack Miles will take the net lead of this race because of that. Ding is heating up the back of Timbed. Our top 2 are in. Hope they avoided a puncture, because I know Ding had one. Not managing his tire well. That contact between Skither and Ardell, Gagi, might cost Skither the chance at a victory here. I know he's in DRS pursuit of Jack, but that was not good there. Eric sets the fastest lap, and Skither gets ahead of Jack now once again. Zora stays out, though. Zora continues to stay out and maybe bank on a safety car here, because he knows his hope for getting a good result could be really coming undone. He just has to make sure it doesn't affect the championship battle here with our race leaders. Oh! Look at that! Contact between Zora and the leader right there. Luckily, that did not end in tears. Ding is in 7th now. That everything is kind of cycled out. He'll get 6th here in a little bit. Timbed ahead of George. George pitted a few laps later compared to Timbed. Timbed is now going to try and go defend the inside on George into the S's. George is going to go the long way around. Gets a little bit of a pinch, but no harm, no foul. Nice racing here as we get to the S section. Whoa! talk about tight racing here. It's not even the top 3. They're not even top 4. It's P8 right there. So Goggy, coming into this event, I was just gonna say, Goggy, coming into this event, Azura does have. Oh, you're cutting out a bit. You were saying? Oh, he's lagged out. So his internet has gone down the drain, not just in game but also in party. So we'll have him watch from the Twitch chat instead. That makes sense as to the bad connection issues. Meanwhile, the fastest lap has gone to Ding now, and Night Owl is hounding the back of Hunted for 4th. I was just going to say about the championship gap, 52 points into this event. Make it, if Skither wins, make it 40-something, but that won't even be enough for him to stay in title contention. Zora finally pits. He waited for quite a long time, but I don't blame him trying to wait it out for a safety car there. There's really not much you can do when you're back there and don't have the pace, but you at least got to try something different. He did the right thing, and we're just going to have to see if those fresher rubbers can pay off if there's a spin with Ardell or Titan or anyone who he can claim maybe another point or so off of. Doesn't have a point now, but, you know, we'll see. Jack, is he out of DRS on Skither? He currently looks to be. Yes, he is. Yeah, no DRS for Jack this time down the main straight. 3 laps to go. Night Owl is on the back of Hunted, and we've got yellow flags. That is for the AIX of Zora. That's the same place he spun in the sprint as well, so he's having a tough time there down at the heavy braking zone. Night Owl clears Hunted, and meanwhile, ding, 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 here comes George to pass his teammate. Ding has been overtaken for 6th place. George gets the upper edge there. 1.7 now the gap. It looks like Jack, who really just had one moment to shine, didn't capitalize on it after the contact with Skither and Ardell. I know Minico's got to be somewhere laughing about that. And he said he had to play the Academy teammate card. Interesting. So maybe that's why the stuff that happened there got a bit aggressive down at the corner. Look at the gap between Jack and Skither. It's now up to 2.3 seconds. Is Jack just conserving? What's going on with Jack to just not have this pace compared to Skither? Or is Skither being able to pull out this pace from just out of nowhere? I'll tell you our history in Qatar while we got a moment here between 3rd place somewhat calming down, it looks like. Mythic won our first race here. That was the first ever win by Mythic. He beat Beatnik. Bourbon returned to the top step of the podium. In Season 17. Sorry, Mythic won the opener in Season 18, my bad. Crispy won his first race in the feature. That was the event split by them. Bourbon and Skither won the events in Season 17. One of the longest margins there in that feature race. That's what I was trying to say. It was Skither who won that with the punctures. Night Owl tried to go the long way around on Eric, but it just was not happening. He's going to have a go now with a little switcheroo. Ooh, we're about to crash. We somehow stay straight. Hunted now in the mix. He'll try to go for this now. He'll go the long way around. There's not much space for you, Hunted. Maybe try and pull it off down into turn 6. You can. That's a heavy braking zone to do so. Hunted, I know, got another penalty moment to go. As I was saying, Season 17, it was Bourbon who returned to victory over Spenny and Skither. That's what it was. That was our first race here for F2. Skither beat Mythic in Season 18, which was a race filled with ending punctures. We also had a preseason test here as well for this game. Mythic and Crispy were our first-time winners in 18, and in 19 we had Tadpole and Trat Racer split the victories. It was Metal who originally won, I believe. but lost it in the stewards room. Blonde was on the podium that day. George was on the podium in the sprint this time and last sprint we had. And Eric giving up places there, it looks like, on our leaderboard. Well, we missed what happened in there because we wanted to cover our history around the circuit, but we are now on the final lap in Qatar. 4.5 seconds is the gap. We have one last effort here on the main straight to see some places trade here. Titan has got a penalty again, but Hunted, he wants this on track regardless of the penalty situation. He's going to go for this on Night Owl. Eric is still in on the mix. He's getting overtaken now by George. George is ahead. George could get to Hunted in time to maybe get 5th here based on the penalty situation. Eric could still be on for a podium. Hunted lets George go. Maybe the smarter move? Realizing the situation, he's got 12 seconds of pens. Hunted. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even realize the penalty situation right there. Our guys who put it on 6 softs, Timbed, Eric, we'll have to pay attention with those guys for a potential puncture, which could happen here, especially based on what we saw with Ding getting one on the hards. He may have not been the only one. George is close to Night Owl. We'll get back to that. Skither will win the race. He won't be in championship contention any longer. He's not done enough because he's not been here enough this season. But when he has been here, he has been winning. It's win 7 on the season, and it's win number 3 in Qatar. Jack Miles has been the one to come out on top this season. He is a 3-time F2 champion, back-to-back for Jack. And it's a crazy race to the end. We have a puncture from Hunted, who just beats Ding. No, he doesn't. He misses out at the line on track. That is a big drag race to the finish. Night Owl did hang on for the last podium spot. Our top 3 in the championship finished top 3 in the race. George, Eric, Ding, Hunted, Timbed, Titan, and Ardell are our points finishers here in the event. Jack Miles is a back-to-back champion. He has done it for 3. Jack Miles now is just 2 championships away from Luke Range's 5. Into tonight, Borbin, Skither, and got 2 titles to their name in RPL F2. Jack now has a 3rd in RPL F2. I'm not sure who I'd give Driver of the Day to based on those events, but I feel like the sprint has to go to Skither, surely. The feature itself, I don't know. I don't really know. But nonetheless, our podium celebrations are underway. Skither has won once again, which is great to see. He continues that podium streak that he's had this season, it seems to be. The only race I think he was off the podium was the one in Baku, but this is insane. He'll spray the champagne. Win 38 in RPL F2. He's only 7 away from Luke Range, and it's only going to be a matter of time until he passes him at this rate. Here's your total points tally. Look at his Skither still beat Jack by 10 points in the weekend, but that's not enough for him to stay in contention for the title. We have 39 points available in Abu Dhabi weekend for the sprint and the feature. 45 points is the gap. That's not enough. Night Owl still can get second with that being said, but it's going to be a long shot. Still a big battle now between Dams and Premo with that being said, because look at Dams' points tally. They have a lot, but Premo's not out of it either. Here are your feature race results. 11 drivers finished, 12 drivers participated, and I'd probably have to give the driver of the day in this one to either Skither or George. Probably Skither, but George did a really good job coming from P10 right there. Fastest lap to Ding. It's his F2 return. We usually don't see him in F2 a lot unless there's a decrease in attendance, and there was, but it's good to see him in the F2 cars once again. It's his first time in these F1 24, F2 24 cars. Remember, it's not the 23 cars any longer. With Skither winning that race, the interesting thing about it is I look at the all-time wins across all tiers now. It's win 68 for him. You've just got to wonder. Luke Grange has the most. Luke Grange has the most F2 wins as well. I mean, you know, with what Skither's doing in F2, he'll probably beat the F2 one first, but you just got to wonder, when is that going to happen? He could get to 70 by the end of the F2 season as well. He's just got to win both the sprint and the feature. Yeah, so Skither my driver of the weekend, clearly, but Jack Miles, the driver of the season, winning yet another championship, and he's done it this time as the league owner. That will be it for RPL F2. We've got one more race in Abu Dhabi. Although the championship may be settled, there's one thing that is not settled, for sure. And I can tell you what that is. The other places in the championship. We still got second on back to race on. All crucial spots right there. And also, shout out to Ding getting the fastest lap there at the end on Skither. That was nice. You know, Skither may have been the class of the field for sure, but Ding set a fastest lap, and we don't usually see that happen from him, where he has the outright pace like that, unless it's qualifying. But you know, great stuff there in F2 cars in his return, especially with the limited time there. With that being said. Yeah, so Abu Dhabi next week for F2. We'll have Abu Dhabi for other tiers as well. But to finish out the weekend, we have F1 later tonight in Qatar for Tier 1. We have the drivers and constructors clinch, but we still have a race on our hands. That's for sure. Join us tonight for our second appearance at the circuit in RPL F1 Tier 1. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, signing off. Till next time, folks. Have a good night. See you later tonight or next week for F2 in Abu Dhabi to end off Season 20 of the racing. Good night and goodbye.